Hello everyone, this is Korosh Erfani and today is Monday, January 12, 2026. In this program, I am going to discuss a new reality that is taking shape in the United States, according to which there is no more constitutional rights for the American citizens. We are talking, of course, relatively and progressively, but step by step we can see the denial of the basic rights that had been prescribed in the American Constitution for the American citizens, but Trump administration is denying it more and more. And as I told you yesterday, a kind of coup effectively is going on in the United States. These are the scenes that you can find in Minneapolis right now, with 1,000 more agents of ICE, the private militia of the Israeli President of the United States, Stephen Miller, is there in order to deny the basic rights of the American citizens. So this is happening incrementally, and the people are getting more and more arrested. And again, as it happens, sporadically here and there, the nation didn't realize that this is a military coup in the United States. And this is a reality that every American citizen has to present, because right now we can see that they are doing it everywhere, almost everywhere. These are the videos. You remember I showed you, I don't know, a few videos just yesterday, and these are the videos of today. Same thing is happening every day, every hour in the United States right now. That shows effectively the arrest of the American citizens and the preparation of something that nobody can deny very soon as a coup that is happening. But the good news is that a part of the American population is getting conscious regarding what is happening. That's why we start to have the primary forms of resistance that shows the antagonistic relationship between the power and the bottom of society, the grassroots, is taking shape, is taking place. We are talking about one of the most important concepts of political sociology, which is the social antagonism, where there is no more any field of agreement between the top and the bottom. And this is what's happening in the United States, because the people are realizing that this bond that came to the power with a huge historical cheat, effectively, to the power, under the pretext of election, are the people who are able to make really the worst thing possible to the American people, including the Israeli President of the United States here, Stephen Miller, and 3 other clones over there. So that's why we have to think about the necessity of organizing ourselves in such a way that we can defend the American democracy, we can defend the American Constitution. Otherwise, there won't be anything that can be seen as civil rights, citizens' rights, social rights, or something like that. So regarding here, another scene, just to remind you that they are arresting the children. They are arresting the teenagers, and we don't know what happened. We don't know who are these people. We don't have any idea about that. The only thing that we know is that they have been trained by IDF, and some of them are Israeli American soldiers. The Israeli soldiers, the American soldiers of Israeli army. The only thing that we know. So they are kidnapping children in the street, and this is a part of what is happening right now in the United States. All right. Now the people start to organize themselves in order to, stand up to protect themselves. And we should be aware that a majority of the people who believe that they are already protected by Constitution, by the American Constitution, will progressively realize that there is no such a thing anymore, that we are in a post-constitutional period from the January 2025, and it's getting worse. So that's why the people started to organize the different form of resistance. This is what's happening in Minnesota right now. As you can see, the young people are facing the Israeli army and the branch of the United States that is called ICE, and they are trying to show, as you can see, the different initiatives that show the power of the people when they want to be acting, in an organized way. We have more and more signs of social resistance. For example, on these videos that belong to January 2025 in Los Angeles, when the history of ICE started, the beginning of 2025. But the text is very interesting. The text says that instant karma. Trump is experiencing the worst stage of his entire life. And that's true. There is a video just today I am going to show you, and it shows how the people start to express their hate for Trump in front of himself, in his face, effectively. So the text says, when a clown moves into the palace, he doesn't become king, the palace becomes a circus. And that's true. The White House right now is a circus with the clone, Trump, and a real president, which is the Zionist agent, the real Israeli president of the United States, Stephen Miller, and his Zionist team. They are getting the empire down. The empire must go down on the benefit of the greater Israel. This is the objective. This is the plan. The USA is getting out of control of MAGA, the fruit of Rubio's accessory. Marco Rubio with the mafioso bond of the Zionists. They thought that they can take over the country, so easily, in order to transform the United States into the United States of Israel, right? When you bring fire to the people's houses, you run the risk of burning your own house. This is what he is saying. The arsonist Trump's house is burning. And if you want to know, if you want to see how the American people started to be brave and to be straightforward regarding this new dictator, the Zionist puppet of the United States, look at this image. This is, I checked that, to be sure about it. I checked that by Grok, and it says that the post shares a viral video clip of President Trump facing loud boos and heckling from the audience during his January 12, 2026 speech to the Detroit Economic Club ahead of the auto show. Look at when he wants to show off and just make believe that he is very popular and the American people like him or love him. Look at this and listen to him. Look at how the people are mocking him. Guys, can you imagine that in a scope of time less than 1 year, and because we are just January 12 and January 20 will be 1 year anniversary of the second term of presidency of Donald Trump. Can you imagine in less than 12 months the guy became the objective of any demonstration of mockery or hate? It reminds me the fate of Ceausescu in his last famous fatal speech. When the people started to come over there, arrest him, and then we know the rest of the story. So this is it. This is the idea that when you start to establish a kakistocracy, the government of the least competent, the most mafious, the most criminal, the most thief, stealing the people's life, the people's money, that's the fate. And we have other signs of resistance as well, because the people, at the administration also started to disobey. That's the breaking news. Look at this. Trump's DOJ has just fired the number 2 official in the department's Eastern District of Virginia, Robert McBride. Why? After he declined to lead the prosecution of former FBI Director James Comey. In other words, look, Trump's DOJ is continuing to fire people who refuse to prosecute his political enemies on trumped-up charges. So, this is it. The very definition of political persecution. So, as we can see, the coup is going on everywhere, at the structural, institutional level, as well in the streets. And that's why the people are organizing, the people are taking knowledge about the deception. Out of 50 states of the United States right now, Trump has lost popularity in 40 of them, 40 out of 50, and which means that he cannot really imagine anything that can be considered as the end of midterm election. But there is a more important aspect, which is what I tried to formulate it here: the denial of the right to vote. This is what Trump and his team are organizing, bringing the country into such a chaos, with this last blow to the institutional aspect of the finance here, with the persecution of the Federal Reserve Chief Powell. So, which means that there is any field they don't want to destroy, to dismantle, to pull down, so that there won't be any elections in November 2026. So, what happens? When it's a matter of denial of the basic rules of democracy, basic rights of democracy, including right to vote, of course, when the people realize that, the only thing the only way that they can change the situation, they can get their rights back, is through a social movement. It is a movement of protest. And this movement of protest, because of the behavior of the paramilitary forces that are right now in the streets, they are showing the highest level of violence regarding the American citizens. There is no any other aspect for the social movement that is coming but calling it a regime change. We are in the same framework that what we have in Iran. In Iran, you don't have any legal free elections. This will be the case in the United States. There won't be a free election, democratic election in November. The country is going down. They are spreading chaos everywhere so that they can announce very soon. Already it had been planned for April 2026, but maybe even sooner, to announce a state of emergency in the United States, a kind of military government in the United States, so that they can take over everything: social media, mainstream media, universities, everything, and bringing the military dictatorship in the United States for the first time after its revolution, after its independence. So that's why we must talk about the necessity of a regime change. This is the only way. This is what we have experienced in Iran. We don't have any other choice but a real regime change in Iran. Of course, without any intervention by the criminal states and governments like Israel, for example, by the Iranian people, by the Iranian nation. But here we are getting to the same configuration, where you have a government that is not anymore following any rules, constitutions, rights of citizens, nothing, just the interest of the 1% of the corporation. And what they have to do, they have to repress everything, so that's why I invite any American, any citizens, to think about that. The rights of vote, the constitution, the constitutional rights are not really taken for granted anymore in the United States. Don't take it for granted at all. Now everything is suspended. Everything through these criminals that are in the streets on the name of ICE or Israeli paramilitary forces of the Israeli president of the United States, Stephen Miller. Everything is everything democratic and normal and conventional, is gone. Now we are in a new America. That's why Jeffrey Sachs is talking about the post-constitutional way. That's why Scott Ritter was talking about the most dangerous, insane person at the top of the power in the United States in the history. In the interview with Judge Napolitano. So that's why we have to think about how the things are getting, degraded, worsening, and think about the necessity of a movement that can change the regime. Of course, we are talking about the civil movement. We are not talking about the violent ways of doing that. But everything depends effectively to the government to accept effectively this social movement that will bring, in the most normal way, to a normal democratic free election in November 2026, through which the people get effectively control of the situation with a new majority, and this new majority will be charged by the American people to take care of this band of mafious, extremely dangerous gangsters that are right now in the White House and at the top of them we have the Israeli President of the United States, Stephen Miller. So that's why this situation in the United States is such that the citizen must be united more and more and active. It's very important to have what we call socio-political actions, the actions that happens within the society in the grassroots levels, organizing the grassroots levels of society, but with a political objective, socio-political movement that is necessary, so that you can be sure about, the free democratic elections of November 2026. So I have serious doubt about the fact that Trump let the country go in that direction. I have serious doubt about that, and I have the reason for this. For example, this is this coming from the Mexico border. You see the number of the military vehicle by the United States military that is getting over there. We know that such a move cannot be without a plan, a project, in order to start the war with Mexico. After Venezuela, after the failure, the real failure of the Israeli-American coup in Venezuela, now they want to, bring a new conflict with Mexico. On the other hand, we got the images that showed that the Mexican army are sending more and more troops to its borders with the United States, which means that the tensions are rising over there in such a way that there would be for sure a war. So don't forget that Trump needs several wars. I am pretty sure that that Stephen Miller prepared, a list for Trump, a list of actions, war in Venezuela, in Mexico, in Colombia, in Cuba, occupying Greenland, attacking Iran for the benefit of Israel, and so on and so on, on the one side, and on the other side, just one element, and nothing but one element, the Epstein file. Right, and we know that with 99% of the content hidden still in the Epstein file, and being ready to be revealed about Trump, about anything extremely bad for him, he is ready to take, to pick anything up from this list of Stephen Miller and realizing it, because at the end of the day, I would like to emphasize on this little basic idea. The American empire is designed by the Zionists to go down and to be sacrificed for the advantage of the greater Israel's creation. So to them, to the Zionists, the America in itself, the United States in itself, doesn't have any importance. Its functionality is important, and this functionality is going to the Middle East to bomb Iran, which is right now in the phase of preparation. We are a few hours or a few days maybe far from starting a lot of war over there, and then paying the highest cost possible and imaginable for the American people, for the American nations, for the benefit of Zionists. This is how the things have been shaped. And I am pretty sure that Israel is controlling everything so that it happens, so that it comes about. So that's why we must be aware about this. And finally, let me again underlining the importance of social power, the power of citizens, the grassroots power. We can stop any insanity of the dominant class, and the Zionist dominant class, in order to set fire to the human civilization, if and only if we are united and if we are organized. So being united and being organized right now is our historic responsibility, and we cannot deny that if we want to survive as human species, not only as American nations, Iranian nations, European nations, no, as human species, because the Zionists are there to root out the human species from the planet. That's why we should be aware. That's why the degree of insanity of these people is such that they don't care about the death of billions and billions of people. So be aware and be active. Thank you very much for watching this video.